The two greatest commandments, what were they, and what did they mean exactly?
From this moment, I found the truth, and from this moment, I already know you love me so. From this moment, I already knew, and from this moment, I found the truth, and from this moment, I already know, and from this moment, you love me so.
The question we have to ask ourselves, are the two greatest commandments something new, or are they something old, or have they been here for a while? And when Christ mentioned this, what was he saying? And what was he talking about? Is this something that we just learned in the New Testament, or is this something that can be traced back to the origins of the Old Testament? Let's examine this, and you'll see what Yeshua said in the New Testament in John 14, verse 15. If ye love me, keep my commandments. It also said in the New Testament when we go to the book of Matthew and we look at chapter 19, verses 17. He said unto them, why callest thou me good? There is no one good but one that is Yah. But if thou wilt enter into life, keep the commandments. So what does this mean exactly? What are the two greatest commandments? Are they new, or are they a paraphrase of the Ten Commandments? Let's examine this. So, still in the New Testament, we can go to, I believe you want to follow me to Matthew chapter 22, verses 34 through 40. Matthew 22, 34 through 40. But when the Pharisees had heard that they had put the Sadducees to silence, they were gathered together. Then one of them, which was a lawyer, asked him a question, tempting him and saying, Master, which is the great commandment in the law? Yeshua said unto him, Thou shalt love Yah with all thy heart, and all thy soul, and with all thy mind. That this is the first great commandment, and the second is like unto it. Thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. And on these two hang all the law and its prophets. So with that being said, it said, with these two hang all the law and its prophets. So where do we find the law and where do we find the prophets? That's a very good question. So let's go ahead and figure this out. So let's move to Mark regarding this topic. Mark 12, verses 28 through 31. And one of the scribes came, and having heard them reasoning together, and perceiving that he had answered them well, asked him, which is the first commandment of all? And Yeshua answered him, the first of all commandment is, Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God is one Lord, and thou shalt love thy Yah with all thy heart, with all thy soul, and with all thy mind, and with all thy strength. This is the first commandment. And the second is like, namely this, Thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. There is none other commandment greater than these. Now with that being said, this is exactly what it just said in Matthew. So, with that being said, did it sound like he was paraphrasing something? Or did he just make this up as he went by? Let's examine this. So let's go to Matthew chapter 5, and we'll start off in verses 16, and we'll read through 24. And it says, Let your light shine before men, that they may see your good works, and glorify your Father which is in heaven. Think not that I come to destroy the law or the prophets. I am not come to destroy, but to fulfill. For verily I say unto you, till heaven and earth pass, One jot or one tittle shall no wise pass from the law till all be fulfilled. Whosoever shall break one of these least commandments shall teach men so shall be called the least in the kingdom of heaven. But whosoever shall do them and teach them shall be called the great in the kingdom of heaven. For verily I say unto you, except your righteousness shall exceed the righteousness of the scribes and Pharisees, ye shall no case enter the kingdom. And it continues to say on verses 21, Ye have heard that it was said of them of old time, that thou shalt not kill. Whosoever shall kill shall be in danger of the judgment. But I say unto you, that whosoever is in angry with his brother without a cause shall be in danger of judgment. And whosoever shall say to his brother, Rakah, shall be in danger of the council. But whosoever shall say, Thou fool, shall be in danger of hell fire. There, if you bring thy gift to the altar, and there rememberest that thy brother hath ought against thee, leave thy gift before the altar, and go thy way. First be reconciled to thy brother, and then come and offer thy gift. A lot of y'all didn't catch that, especially if you believe a lot of just the New Testament doctrines. You'll definitely not understand what he was talking about there, and we're going to take a brief second and we're going to elaborate on it. So you notice how he gave you two examples of the commandments he was talking about. With that being said, I want y'all to notice something else. Notice how Yeshua quoted from the part from the Ten Commandments that reference, if you studied the law, you would notice that verses 23 and 24, which is also called the Mosaic Law. Now, where are these references in scriptures located? I can tell you where. Let's go to Exodus. So let's go to Exodus chapter 20, verses 1 through 17. And this is where we find the Ten Commandments. And Yah spake all these words, saying, I am the Lord thy God, which have brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out the house of bondage. Thou shalt have no other gods before me. And thou shalt make unto thee an graven image, or a likeness of any that is in heaven above, or that is in earth beneath, or that is in the water underneath the earth. Thou shalt not bow down thyself to them, nor serve them. For I, the Lord thy God, am a jealous God, visiting the iniquity of your fathers upon the children of the third and fourth generation of them that hate me, and showing mercy unto the thousands of them that love me, and keep my commandments. Thou shalt not take the Lord's name Yah in vain, for Lord will not hold him guiltless that taketh his name in vain. Remember the Sabbath day, to keep it holy. 6 days shalt thou labor and do all thy work. But the seventh day is the Sabbath of the Lord thy God. In it thou shalt do no work, or not do any work. Thou, nor thy son, nor thy daughter, thy manservant, nor thy maidservant, nor thy cattle, nor thy stranger that is within thy gates. For in the 6 days the Lord made heaven and earth, and the sea, and all of it that's in them, and rested on the seventh day. Where the Lord has blessed the Sabbath day and hallowed it, which means to separate it. Honor thy father and thy mother, and thy days may be long in the land which the Lord thy God giveth thee. Thou shalt not kill. Thou shalt not commit adultery. Thou shalt not steal. And thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbor. Verse 17. Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's house, and thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's wife, nor his manservant, nor his maidservant, nor his ox, nor his ass, nor anything that is of thy neighbors. Now we just read real quickly and swiftly through the 10 Commandments, and I want you to see something. So, with that being said, there's no question when Yeshua stated in Matthew 22 verse 40, on these two commandments hang all the law and the prophets. Well, we study the law and the prophets in the Torah. So when Yeshua speaks about keeping the commandments, we know he's speaking about the 10, which is the whole law. And if you study the Torah, you'll find that this is how we love and serve Yah, and love our neighbors in various scenarios. And the various scenarios has a lot to do with the other 613 laws. So obviously this isn't something new. So we need to examine these next two scriptures. And the first one will be in Hebrews. And so Yeshua said in Hebrews 10, verse 16, This is the covenant that I will make with them after those days, saith the Lord. I will put my laws into their hearts, and their minds I will write them. So, he said that in Hebrews, and I want you to see something. You have to really ask yourself this question. Was this really new, or was it also speaking from the Old Testament? And in Jeremiah 31 and 33, it states, so go ahead and go to Jeremiah 31 and 33. And when we get there, we'll let the Bible speak. So we really have to ask ourselves, is this something new, or was it spoke of in the Old Testament, right? Like we were saying before. And I hope you already made it back to Jeremiah chapter 31 and verse 33. And the scripture states, but this shall be the covenant that I will make with the house of Israel after those days, saith the Lord. I will put my law in the inward parts, and write it in their hearts, and I will be their God, and they shall be my people. Sounds a whole lot like what's being saying in the New Testament, and it sounds a whole lot to me like it's being paraphrased. So it's clear to see when the scripture states about keeping the commandments, we know what it's referring to, and we know it's talking about the law. There's no coincidence that at the beginning there was 2 tablets of stone which hang the law of the Most High preached by the prophets. Makes sense now, doesn't it? Very clear and easy to understand. With that being said, we can now truly understand this scripture and the last scripture of the video, and I really appreciate your time. And let's go ahead and bring it home and meet me at the book of Revelations. So I hope you already went to the book of Revelations. We're going to pick it up at chapter 14, verses 11 through 12. And the smoke of their torment ascendeth forever and ever, and they have no rest day or night, who worship the beast and his image, and whosoever shall receive the mark of his name. Here is the patience of the saints. Here are they that keep the commandments of Yah and the faith of Yeshua. With that being said, I hope you have the understanding of the 2 greatest commandments. The very end is a little nugget on why it's important, which is for a whole nother lesson for another day. And with that being said, is that when you do read those scriptures at the very end, you do understand what commandments he's talking about. And those 2 great commandments are the same as the ones on the 2 tablets of stone back in the Old Testament in the Torah. With that being said, shalom, Shabbat shalom to you and yours, from my family to yours. And I appreciate your time, and enjoy the rest of your Shabbat, and we'll see you at Pentecost. Shalom.
And from this moment, I found the truth. And from this moment,